announcement. Yes, Honourable Prime
Madam
Minister.
Speaker, it is with deep sadness that we learned of the demise of Dr. Abu Twalib Kaznali on the 27th of April of this year. Dr. Abu Kaznali was born on the 10th of August 1941 in Rivière-du-Rempart. After his secondary education at the Royal College of Portly, he pursued medical studies in the United Kingdom, specializing in vascular surgery at the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. He returned to Mauritius in the early 70s and became a pioneer in vascular surgery. His cutting-edge surgical prowess and commitment to healthcare earned him the high esteem of his colleagues and patients alike. His work not only saved lives, but also significantly enhanced the standard of specialized medical care in Mauritius. He joined the Ministry of Health as a specialist in surgery in 1974 and rose through the ranks to serve as Regional Health Director and subsequently as Principal Medical Officer. Madam Speaker, Dr. Abu Kaznali was always driven by a strong sense of national duty. He devoted his life selflessly to the well-being of the public. After resigning from the health service, he joined the Mauritius Labour Party in 2000, and he was a candidate at the general elections in constituency number 3 under the banner of the Alliance Parti Travailliste PMQT, but he was not returned. He took part in the 2005 general elections in constituency number 15 under the banner of Alliance Sociale and was elected as the first member. On the 7th of July 2005, Dr. Kaznali was appointed Minister of Public Utilities, a portfolio he held until September 2008, when he was appointed Minister of Housing and Lands, a post he held until May 2010. In 2010, he again stood as a candidate for the Alliance Parti Travailliste MSM in constituency number 13 and was elected as second member of the said constituency. On the 11th of May 2010, he was appointed Minister of Housing and Lands, a portfolio he held until December 2014. Dr. Abu Kaznali was always served his professional and ministerial responsibilities with distinction. His integrity, diligence, and vision have contributed meaningfully to our country's development. Not only Dr. Kaznali was a very able and competent minister, but he also displayed a sense of profound humanity. He leaves behind a legacy of professional achievements, generosity, and compassion that has touched countless of lives, irrespective of their origin or their religion. With these words, Madam Speaker, may I request you to direct the clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to Mrs. Kaznali, the family, and all those afflicted by his passing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of the Opposition, I fully associate myself to the tribute paid by the Honourable Prime Minister to late Dr. Abu Twalib Kaznali. Madam Speaker, may I kindly request you to direct the clerk of the National Assembly to convey our deep condolences to the bereaved family. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. Honourable members, I associate myself with the tribute paid to the memory of late Dr. Abu Twalib Kaznali, former Member of Parliament, by the Honourable Prime Minister and the Honourable Leader of the Opposition. It happens that I have known Dr. Kaznali as a doctor and also as a minister. I therefore direct the clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to the bereaved family.
Papers have been laid. Questions?
Yes, Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Your private notice question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I've given notice of the following private notice question addressed to the Honourable Minister of Labour and Industrial Relations, whether in regard to the Labour Day celebrations 2026, he will state the A, activities and events organized in connection therewith, giving a breakdown of the total expenditure incurred and the source of funding, And B, names of the companies to which contracts were awarded for the podium, sound system, and lighting and ancillary services for the live concert held at the Esplanade of the Municipal City Council of Port Louis on the 1st of May 2026, indicating in each case the procurement method used. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Minister.
Madam Speaker, the International Labour Day is celebrated globally on the 1st of May to commemorate the struggles and achievements of workers and labour movement to improve the working conditions of workers. It is an occasion to pay tribute to the hundreds of thousands of workers of our country who every day toil hard to feed their families and contribute to the economic development of our nation. It is also an occasion to remind ourselves of the workers and leaders of trade union movement who devoted their entire life to the cause of workers, including martyrs like Mrs. Anjali Coupet. As regards part A of the question, this year, to mark the International Labour Day, my ministry organized a series of activities spanning over 10 days as follows. First, we effected a visit to Rodrigues Island from the 22nd and 23rd of April 2026. The delegation comprised myself, the directors of Labour, Employment, and Occupation Safety and Health Department, and an assistant secretary. We had very constructive working session with the Commissioner and officers of the Commission for Labour, Industrial Relations and Employment, as well as workers' representatives. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, in the past, little consideration had been given to consulting the Commission in Rodrigues on labour reforms which would affect workers in Rodrigues, and trainings were not always extended to them. We also discussed the problems which workers from Rodrigues face when having to sue their employers in Mauritius. We also agreed on a protocol in relation to employment of foreign labour in Rodrigues. Priority will be given to workers in Rodrigues before any foreign worker is allowed to work in Rodrigues. On the 27th of April, Monday last, a 5th job and training fair was organized by the Employment Division of my ministry at the Cascavel Mall, whereby 20 employers and 5 training institutions were present. The objective of the job and training fair was to bring job seekers and employers and training institutions in one place to facilitate job matching and sensitize job seekers of trading opportunities available. The event was well attended by job seekers. On the 29th of April 2026, Wednesday last, my ministry organized 2 meetings, one with representative of workers' organization and the other one with representative of employers' organization. The first meeting was attended by 8 confederations of workers, and the second one was attended by 9 organizations of employers. The objective of these meetings were to receive their feedbacks on improvement that can be brought by my ministry to further enhance services offered by the different departments of my ministry. We also discussed about labour reform, which would be shortly considered by the National Tripartite Council. On the 30th of April 2026, Thursday last, my ministry organized a one-day symposium with some 150 tripartite stakeholders and social partners. The themes for discussion were chosen carefully in line with the topical issues in the world of work. The objective of the symposium was to raise awareness and to further discussions on the following 3 topics through panel discussion. First, mental health at the workplace and dependency, which is aligned with the 226th theme set by the International Labour Organization for the World Safety and Health Day. Let's ensure a healthy psychosocial working environment. The second topic was on promoting workplace inclusion, and in particular, ensuring a greater participation of persons with disabilities in both public and private sectors. And the third topic was on employability in Mauritius by 2050, prosperity, inclusiveness, and sustainability, where we discussed the major challenges facing the labor market, including our aging population, global labor mobility, and the disruptive forces of technology and artificial intelligence. The turnout was very encouraging, and the event was a success. During the morning of the 1st of May 2026, on Friday last, a wreath-laying ceremony was held at the Anjali Coupen statue at the Children's Court in Port Louis. On the same day, a visit at the dormitory of a manufacturing company in Cupid was effected, which was followed by a lunch with a group of around 100 migrant workers of the company. Madam Speaker, to conclude our week of activities, government agreed to organize a concert on the Labour Day to be held at the esplanade of the Municipal City Council of Port Louis. I have to confess, Madam Speaker, that my ministry does not usually organize such activity. Thus, the collaboration of the Ministry of Arts and Culture and the Municipal Council of Port Louis was sought. I co-chaired a preparatory meeting with my colleagues, the Honourable Minister of Arts and Culture, in the presence of the Lord Mayor of the City Council of Port Louis and with relevant stakeholders. The purpose of the meeting was to identify the most suitable option for organizing the concert, taking into consideration the venue, time, program, transport and parking facilities, traffic management, public safety, marketing aspect, and financial consideration. The Municipal City Council of Port Louis agreed to make arrangements for the provision of podium, sound system, and lighting. Madam Speaker, with regard to the expenditure incurred in connection with the above event, the breakdown is as follows. For the trip in Rodrigue, the total costs incurred for the visit amounted to 162,500 rupees, comprising of air ticket and accommodation. For the job and training fair, 132,295 rupees, including VAT, met from the budget vote of the Employment Division of my ministry. This amount comprises 22,827 rupees and 50 cents for logistics arrangement, 18,055 rupees for printing of brochures, posters and banners, 30,000 rupees for press communique, and 61,812 rupees and 50 cents for refreshment and meal for the employers, trainers, and staff servicing the job and training fair. For the meetings held on the 29th of April 2026, with the representative of workers and representative of employers, the only cost incurred was an amount of 3,000 rupees for refreshment provided to attendees, which was met from the budget of the ministry. Concerning the symposium at Ravenala Attitude Hotel, an aggregate amount of 762,989.40 rupees, inclusive of VAT, was incurred, comprising of 9,839 rupees 40 cents for 3 banners on stand, and 753,150 rupees for provision of venue and catering services and logistics. Madam Speaker, I have to pause here to state that my ministry explored other venues, such as the Atal Bihari Vajpayee Institute of Public Service and Innovation, the Civil Service College, but unfortunately, same was not available on the date. Therefore, a request for sealed quotation was launched by my ministry, and the award was made to the lowest responsive bidder, in this case, Ravenala Attitude Hotel. For the wreath-laying ceremony held on the 1st of May 2026, 12 bouquets were purchased for an aggregate amount of 3,600 rupees from the budget of the Labour Division of my ministry. As regard to the visit at the dormitory of the company on the 1st of May and the lunch amounting to 24,075 rupees, these were met from the budget of my ministry. With regard to the concert, I am informed that the aggregate costs amounted to 1,590,588 rupees, including VAT, and my ministry will be meeting expenditure amounting to around 300,000 rupees from its budget. The Ministry of Arts and Culture agreed to provide an amount of 350,000 rupees to meet the cost of artists, and the Municipal City Council of Port Louis committed an amount of 500,000 rupees for the podium, sound system, and lighting. 4 sponsors, government league sponsors, agreed to contribute around 450,000 rupees towards the organization of the event. The breakdown, as regard part B of the question, for the concert, the name of the companies to which contracts were awarded and the procurement method used are as follows. For the stage, podium, including structure, stage lighting, and sound system, I'm informed by the Municipal City Council of Port Louis that it conducted a request for seal quotation, and the award was made to Glitz Production Limited. For the artists and performers, a technical committee comprising representatives of my ministry, the Ministry of Arts and Culture, and the Municipal City Council of Port Louis finalized the list of local artists and performers. Quotation was sought for their services and were recommended to, and the following artists participated: Bhojpuri Bose, Désiré François and the Cassia Group, Groupe Latanier, Comico, DJ Emran Production Limited, Groupe Trioco, and the magician and illusionist, Mr. Krish. For the media coverage, advertising, and animation, I am informed by the Municipal City Council of Port Louis that the low-value procurement method was used, and the award was made to Defi Media Group Limited. For Metro services, Metro Express Limited was approached through the Ministry of Land Transport, and as regards bus services, the services of National Transport Corporation were retained.
Yes, Honourable Leader, your first supplementary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me start with the concert that was held at the Esplanade of the Municipality of Port Louis.
Yes.
So, will the Honourable Minister indicate the estimated number of persons who attended the concert which was held at the Esplanade of the Municipal Council of Port Louis?
Yes, Minister, do you know?
I'm not very good at estimate. I have to confess, Madam Speaker, that we did not get the turnout that we expected, and people came quite late. In fact, the peak was reached when groups like Latanier and Cassia, Désiré François came, and in fact, you would like to know that those who did attend the concert insisted on this group continuing to sing. So Latanier had to sing other songs of the Crapaud Crié, the famous Crapaud Crié, and Désiré François and his group were very nice to sing additional songs after what they had agreed to sing. I'm informed, Madam Speaker, that the physical on-site presence at peak, this is a report from Radio Plus Défi Media, not my ministry, so the physical presence was 1,700 persons. Online views, Facebook Défi Media, 116,000 people. Facebook Radio Plus, 30,100. YouTube channel Défi Media, 19,500. TikTok, 180,000. Total online views, 345,600 views.
Yes, Leader of the Opposition.
I'm surprised, Madam Speaker. Official figures have it that only 200 persons attended that live concert.
No comments.
And the Minister should not refer to
Leader of the
TikTok,
Opposition.
Facebook, or whatever.
Please,
It was
Leader.
meant to be a live concert
No
by
comments.
top artists
No comments.
of this country. Can I ask the Honourable Minister to inform the House whether members of this National Assembly were invited to attend, and how many members attended that concert, Madam Speaker?
Yes, Minister.
Madam Speaker, the honourable member should know.
The honourable leader.
Yes,
Leader
the
of
honourable
the
leader of the opposition should know that when you organize a concert, there are those who would come here physically, But the majority of the people, including principally the young, who are interested by people like Deji Emran, they don't come. They look at their mobile phone. So that is why it is very important. And we got official figures from DFA Media.
Minister.
So with regards to the question of the honourable leader of the opposition, I didn't keep track of how many members of parliament came in and out the concert. Unfortunately, I was present. The honourable minister of arts and culture were there with our families, as well as the Lord Mayor and several councillors.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition, please don't make comments. We have young people sitting today, and I would very much like you to stick to your normal, sweet questions. However hard they are, but questions. They may be hard, but there must be questions.
Can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether his ministry spent funds that were not approved through the normal parliamentary process?
Minister.
Absolutely not. In fact, Madam Speaker, I've given the whole figures, and the Honourable Leader of the Opposition would like to note that we actually underspent. For example, we received financial clearance for the concert to the tune of 1.5 million rupees. We ended up spending only 300,000 rupees, thanks to a number of private donations.
Thank you. Yes. Your third supplementary.
With regard to free buses, we understand that 3 buses were provided all around the island, Madam Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House how many buses were provided on that particular day and the total cost incurred, and under which authority such transport arrangements were made?
Madam Speaker, I don't have the actual number of buses who came in, and my officers has told me that we have not received yet the claim. So I don't know how many in total the bus came and how many people they transported. Initially, the idea was to award the contract to CNT, because we contacted the different buses across the island. They were not responsive, because we're talking about 1st of May, we're talking about evening. CNT agreed, NTC agreed to provide up to 29 buses, but as I said, it is obvious that many of these buses did not come to the concert or did not bring the number of people to the concert. We're still waiting for NTC to give us the final figures about the cost.
I think you got a little piece of paper.
Yes, the piece says up to 29 buses for CNT, not 2 buses.
Is he aware that most of those
Next
buses came to Port Reitz empty, Madam Speaker?
Next question. Okay, you finished? You finished?
Well, this is what we have just answered, Madam Speaker. We're waiting to get figures. I mean, we are Tuesday. The event was on Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday were holidays. So let's give some time to the Transport Corporation to send me their figures.
Next question, no comments. No comments.
With regard to the Metro Express services, will the Honourable Minister inform the House of the cost incurred by government on that day?
Again, the cost has not been finalized. The contract was going to cost us 350. Sorry, the total cost was going to be 214,642 rupees. Okay, this is the figures that we've received today from Metro Express. So the cost for Metro Express is 214,642 rupees.
I think it's your 4th or 5th question. I'm not sure.
Now, in relation to security and essential services, will the Honourable Minister indicate the number of police officers who were deployed on that day, and what amount of overtime was paid to those officers?
Unfortunately, the leader of the opposition should come with a substantial question to the Prime Minister. I have absolutely no details. We had meetings in that technical committee. We had meetings with the representative of the police officer, but I don't know how many police officers actually work on that day.
Yes.
Now, since we spent some 1.5 million rupees for that concert, Madam Speaker, does the Honourable Minister agree that celebrating workers is best achieved by directing resources to their material well-being rather to an even production cost, Madam Speaker?
It's a matter of opinion.
Madam Speaker, I've gone to the pain of explaining the series of activities that we had. It was not a one event. There was a series of activities, including our brothers and sisters from Rodrigues Island. We thought it would be a good idea that workers will have the benefit of local artists, and those local artists, a lot of them are, chansons engagées. Those who have been, we're talking about the group Latanier in the 80s and all their powerful militant songs. We're talking about Désiré François and Cassia talking about right of workers. And as I said, when we look at the number of people who look at the concert online, we can't talk about, money not well spent.
In any case, may I?
Yes,
Please?
Madam Speaker.
You're not supposed to ask for an opinion. You're not supposed to ask him for his opinion. Yeah, no, but you're not supposed to ask for an opinion. Question must arise out of the main question that you put.
Now, in the same vein, Madam Speaker, in the context of the current economic pressures, including rising food and energy costs linked to the conflict in the Middle East, can I ask the Honourable Minister, how does he justify the allocation of scarce public resources to a single-day event while vulnerable workers of this country are facing the rise in the cost of living, Madam Speaker?
Madam Speaker, as I explained, the concert in total cost 1.5 million rupees. And I'm sure that the 350,000 viewers and the 2,000 odd people who came in, for a while, they spent a good time, stress-free, and forgot a lot of their daily activities. So the idea was not wrong. The idea was not wrong. We did things for the benefit of workers, and those workers, I'm sure, appreciated a live concert.
C'est encore une opinion.
It's a fiasco, Madame la Présidente.
ask him.
Can the Honourable Minister confirm whether an invitation was extended to the Honourable Prime Minister to attend the live concert at the Esplanade, and he did not turn up because of the poor attendance?
Madam Speaker, the invitation was an open invitation. And I have to confess, Madam Speaker, that after the event, several people came up to me, even from my own constituency, and told me that they were not aware that there was a concert. And I think this is something that we have to... tirer une leçon, mais also we have to understand that the contract, because we try to do everything in a transparent way. Radio Plus was only awarded the contract on Wednesday. They had only 2 days to really, diffuse the invitation to the general public. So maybe if we had we had awarded them the contract a week before, maybe the turnout would have been
The question was, did you invite the Prime Minister?
We invited a lot of people. I was not the one. Yes, if the leader of opposition would listen to my answer. Okay. Unfortunately, there was a lot of events on that day. There was a technical committee set up at the level of my ministry with officials from the Ministry of the Arts and Culture and the City Council of Portruy. It is a technical committee who decided who to invite or not to invite. I don't know. Maybe the Prime Minister was invited, maybe he was not. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know. But in any event, Cabinet knew about this event. That was an event of, approved by Cabinet.
It was an event approved by Cabinet, he said. But did you...
Tout le monde sait que le Premier ministre avait repoussé chemin ce jour-là, Madame la Présidente. Will the minister confirm now that that event was a total fiasco, confirming the unpopularity of the actual government, and it is for this reason that the population of this country did not turn up, Madam
No,
Speaker?
this is... Minister...
I'm informed by my officer that the leader of opposition was invited. So, if you know, so you could have come, and you could have come and seen for yourself those who did go to that concert, how enthusiastic they were, and you know those who were present, and they stayed till the end. Now, as I said, you know, when we look at the outreach, there's a lot of young people here. I'm sure many of them followed the concert live on their own telephone.
Madame la Présidente, je suis enclin à dire que c'était une mauvaise symphonie de la bande des 15, Madame
Vous êtes en train
Speaker.
d'abuser...
Will the Honourable Minister acknowledge, this is my last question, Madam Speaker,
Mais vous abusez.
will the Honourable Minister now acknowledge to the House that the organisation of such an event was ill-advised, especially when
Again,
the population of this country is facing severe hardship, Madam Speaker?
You're asking for an opinion once more. This is the third time. There's no need to answer. No, but you are asking for his opinion.
Wasting public funds, Madam Speaker.
Minister, I've already ruled. Do you question my ruling? Are you going to question my ruling? Does anybody want to question my ruling? Okay, then we proceed. Now we proceed. PMQT. Okay. Questions? Honourable members, the table has been advised that PQB 600 will be replied by the Honourable Prime Minister, time permitting. Honourable Third Member for Portruis North and Montaillon, Mr. Kazan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. PQB 563, please.
Madam Speaker, Section 7 of the Immigration Act provides for the eligibility criteria for temporary residence permit for a non-citizen who has married a citizen of Mauritius. Section 7.1 states a non-citizen, I'm quoting, a non-citizen shall be eligible for a temporary residence permit where he is A, civilly married to a citizen and he was not a prohibited immigrant at the time of becoming such a spouse. Section 7.4 stipulates that where the marriage between the non-citizen and a citizen is celebrated outside Mauritius, no application for temporary residence permit shall be entertained unless the non-citizen submits A, his marriage certificate certifying that he is civilly married to his citizen spouse, and B, an affidavit or any other document duly sworn or affirmed by him before a court of law in his country of residence, attesting that on the date of his marriage to the citizen, he was not married to any other person. Madam Speaker, I'm informed that some non-citizens are not able to obtain an affidavit or any other document duly sworn or affirmed by them before a court of law in their countries of residence. And as such mechanism, in fact, is not available in their countries of residence. My office is working together with the Attorney General's office to amend Section 7 of the Immigration Act with a view to allowing a non-citizen to submit another official document attesting that on the date of his marriage to the citizen, he was not married to any other person. I must say there was a demand, and we are also looking at this. The Attorney General's offices will give consideration to the possibility of including Rodriguez as well in that amendment that we are bringing. The bill will be introduced in the National Assembly shortly.
Yes, Mr. Kazan, you're okay? Right. The Honourable Third Member for Pamplemousse.
B564, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I'm informed that the casinos have been operating losses of 272 million rupees for the financial year ending 30th of June 2025 and 121 million for the 6-month period, that is from July 2025 to December 2025. I should also highlight that the total losses that have been accumulated for the period 2015 to 2025 amounted to 1.9 billion rupees. The model that casinos have been operating in Mauritius is clearly flawed, Madam Speaker. The chronic losses made by the casinos are attributable mainly, firstly, the casinos of Mauritius closed Sun Casinos and Beach Casinos Limited, which resulted in massive redeployment of 111 staff to other already overstaffed casinos. So we had a problem of overstaffing. Secondly, despite that the casinos of Mauritius was systematically making huge losses every year, on the 2nd of September 2024, that is on the eve of the general election, the management of the casinos signed a collective agreement to provide a 14-month bonus as productivity bonus, and this, Madam Speaker, was backdated to the 2nd of July 2022. The company was making losses, yet they decided to pay a productivity bonus on the eve of the election and backdating it to 2nd of July 2022. This is how the MSM operated. It's not their money. They couldn't give a damn. Sorry, I don't know what is parliamentary. They couldn't give care. But they just spent. This is method of the MSM. This was the level of incompetence and irresponsibility by the previous regime, which therefore naturally further made the situation worse. All they cared about was to lure voters by dishing out public funds. With a view to maintaining casino operations, SRC has injected funds to the tune of 1.3 billion during the period 2015 to 2025. The latter had to contract debts amounting to 771 million rupees to finance this injection. In addition, I'm informed that casinos have arrears amounting to 262 million rupees as at March 2026. Now, this model of financing the losses of the casinos is clearly, Madam Speaker, unsustainable, as it entails massive transfers of funds from profitable entities of the SIC to loss-making ones. This mechanism will rapidly reach its limit, and the SIC will have to ultimately borrow to finance the deficits of the casinos. This will have a direct bearing on public sector debt, and which should at all costs be avoided. Madam Speaker, it is not the business of government to run casinos, especially when it has clearly been making losses over so many years. As I already stated in the House, government is in the process of disposing of the casinos. I'm informed as of today, a transaction advisor, namely PricewaterhouseCoopers, has already been appointed since February of this year to provide advisory services for the disinvestment process. The transaction advisor has completed the first phase of the disinvestment process by working on an estimated valuation for the casinos. The transaction advisor has also prepared an information memorandum and an expression of interest. The launching of the expression of interest is scheduled for May of this year. The SIC, Madam Speaker, will have to come up with bold options to address the related human resources issues arising out of the disposal process of the casinos, including the possibility of elaborating an early retirement scheme.
Yes, Mr. Ruckley, yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Could the Prime Minister inform the House if the companies owning the casinos in Mauritius continue to remain solvent, and whether up to when the government will continue to inject funds in the loss-making casinos.
As I said, Madam Speaker, I don't know if maybe I'm mistaken, maybe the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, who seems to know how many people attend whatever, whether I think this is the only country in the world where casinos actually lose money. Yeah. You started the business. I just told you how many millions you lost when you were in power. But this is precisely why we are relooking at it. This is why we appointed Pricewaterhouse, and this is what the steps we are doing, because it's unsustainable.
Yes, honourable members, before we proceed with the next question, I had the feeling that my previous ruling on the question of giving opinion did not meet the consensus in this House. I just checked, because I don't know everything by heart. I just checked Standing Order 22, 1, G, c'est-à-dire G. A question shall not ask for an expression of opinion. That is all I have to say. Next question. Honourable First Member for Vacoine-Floréal.
B 565.
Madam Speaker, recently the Economic Development Board has received multiple inquiries from foreigners who have expressed interest to relocate together with their families to Mauritius. To respond to this demand, we are introducing a golden visa to better meet the requirements of high net worth individuals wishing to relocate to Mauritius. The golden visa will be a multiple entry visa granted to successful applicants and the immediate dependents, that is, the spouse and dependent children. The visa will be processed within 5 working days from the date of application, and it will be valid for a period of up to 2 years, and it can be renewed if need be, if there is a new application. As regards to Part A of the question, the objectives of the Golden Visa Scheme is to encourage high net worth individuals to relocate physically to Mauritius together with their families. The aim is to maximize the economic benefits to Mauritius through long-term stay of golden visa holders and subsequently encourage them to relocate their funds and channel investments to different sectors of our economy. In this context, the EDB has set up a dedicated concierge service to assist the high net worth non-individual citizens in relocating the businesses to Mauritius, leveraging on our financial services sector, the free port sector, and existing investment schemes. There are also potential benefits in terms of increased foreign direct investment, and especially in emerging sectors of our economy, such as artificial intelligence and digital services. Madam Speaker, high net worth individuals exploring investment opportunities in Mauritius in high-value sectors, such as fintech, global treasury, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and renewable energy will be targeted. As regards to Part B of the question, golden visa holders will be able to enroll their children in private educational institutions in Mauritius, B, to import their personal belongings and bring their pets, C, to open bank accounts in Mauritius, D, to pay their taxes in Mauritius if they spend 183 days or more in Mauritius, while benefiting from tax exemption on expenditure in Mauritius made through foreign credit or debit cards, and on income remitted and deposited into a Mauritian bank account, provided a declaration is made that the applicable tax has already been paid abroad. Holders of golden visas will not automatically be entitled to enter our labor market, as they will be expected to invest in qualifying sectors. As regards to Part C, Madam Speaker, golden visa holders will be required to provide a written undertaking at the time of application that they would invest a minimum amount of $1 million within the first 12 months of the stay in Mauritius, and the EDB will be closely following up on the progress of their investment. An application under the Golden Visa will be subjected to a first screening by the EDB, where due diligence exercise is carried out, including different checks, the world check and so on. The Passport and Immigration Office will perform further due diligence process prior to issuing the visa, but all this will have to take place within 5 working days. As regards Part D of the question, Madam Speaker, I'm informed that the EDB has assessed the potential benefits and risk of the Golden Visa scheme. The EDB has estimated that some 100 Golden Visas could be issued annually. The target of the Golden Visa scheme would be mostly, as I said, high net worth individuals who will later be encouraged to relocate their funds and investment into different sectors of our economy. In this respect, the Ministry of Financial Services and Economic Planning is working on measures to facilitate the relocation of corporates, redomiciliation of global companies and funds to Mauritius, as well as family offices, and facilitating the opening of bank accounts. As regards housing affordability and land ownership, Golden Visa holders will only be allowed to acquire residential properties strictly under the EDB property schemes, such as property development schemes, investment hotel schemes, and smart city schemes. Golden Visa holders would initially be staying in hotels or renting residential properties under the EDB schemes. There is therefore spare capacity in the high-end property rental market to accommodate these individuals without affecting housing affordability for Mauritian citizens. With respect to the risk of money laundering and illicit financial flows, a robust, risk-based due diligence framework is already in place. The framework is aligned with our anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism framework. There is also, Madam Speaker, a strong inter-agency coordination involving the Financial Crimes Commission, the Financial Intelligence Unit, the Financial Services Commission, the Bank of Mauritius, the Passport and Immigration Office, and other enforcement agencies that will work effectively to address any risk relating to money laundering and illicit financial flows. Currently, Madam Speaker, all our visa schemes are compliant with the standards of the Financial Action Task Force and the OECD's guidance on potentially high-risk residency and citizenship by investment schemes. Accordingly, my office, the Ministry of Finance, the EDB, will jointly monitor the scheme. Its outcome will be looked at, and if need be, corrective measures will be taken to ensure that it delivers maximum benefit to the economy and our citizens while safeguarding our national interest.
Yes.
Merci. Concernant le due diligence, l'honorable Premier ministre peut-il nous dire la différence dans le mode d'opération de l'actuel gouvernement et celui de l'ancien régime? Autrement dit, quelle garantie il peut donner à la Chambre qu'on ne verra pas des cas similaires à ceux de Sobrino ou Rabatomanga venir cacher leur fortune mal gagnée à Maurice? Quelle est la différence dans le mode d'opération de l'actuel gouvernement et celui de l'ancien régime?
It's a very good question. We're going to have a different approach with different people involved. One of the things we're doing is to put digital for the passports. It will all be digitalized. We will immediately know what whoever person is coming through to Mauritius, if they have any problem with them. We will immediately know. This is available in many countries, including Seychelles today, but we don't have it here, unfortunately. I don't know why. This is one of the things. Secondly, the criminal agency that we are setting up will have a special section dedicated to just this, to ensure that no, if I may use the word, crooks manage to go through the net.
Yes, second question.
Le Premier ministre a parlé d'éventuelles corrective measures dépendant du succès ou pas de ce scheme. Peut-il nous dire quels indicateurs seront utilisés, quels seront les KPIs pour évaluer le succès ou non de ce scheme? Est-ce que seront évalués la quantité d'emplois créés, l'investissement productif contre l'investissement spéculatif? Comment est-ce que le succès sera évalué?
This is already being done at the moment, but we are strengthening the issue. I was especially mentioning in case of people who try to loan the money to come here. And this is what we are putting a lot of emphasis on. We want to ensure that we don't have a similar as when the MSM were here with the Sobrino cases like this. We have to avoid them.
Est-ce qu'un plafond sera imposé sur le nombre de biens ou sur la superficie de terre pouvant être acquis par un détenteur de Golden Visa?
Superficie.
I think I might have mentioned, maybe I did not, they will be only allowed one residence. And it will be within the framework that the ADB has already set up for different foreigners who want to buy property in Mauritius. The same.
She mentioned superficie. Prime Minister? Prime Minister? The question was on superficie. Yeah. Dans le scheme, il y a
In the
pas.
scheme, you have the, whatever
There's already,
the area is already
it's
there.
taken care of. Okay, good. Next question, Mr. Bijan, Grand Bay Poudre d'Or.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. B566.
Madam Speaker, constituency number 6, that is Grand Bay Poudre d'Or, comprises a mixed coastal, touristic, commercial, and residential corridor. It extends from Grand Bay, Péribert, Cap Malheureux, Goodlands, Grand Gobe, Caledonian coastal settlements, and Poudre d'Or, to Poudre d'Or. I'm informed by the Commissioner of Police that within this spatial configuration, most of the reported cases are concentrated in the more high footfall areas, particularly Grand Bay and its surrounding tourist and commercial zones, Goodlands and its adjoining areas, as well as certain parts of Cap Malheureux, Grand Gobe, and Poudre d'Or. These cases relate mainly to larceny, antisocial behavior, breaches of public order, and drug-related activities, including possession, trafficking, and distribution, as well as illegal cultivation in some areas. To address this situation, the police have further reinforced the intelligence-led policing strategy across the constituency. What they do is they've increased high-visibility patrols in identified hotspots, in the tourist zones and the commercial corridors. There are regular stop-and-search operations and roadblocks. There are targeted enforcement operations conducted by the composite teams comprising the Criminal Investigation Division, the Anti-Drug and Smuggling Unit, the Special Mobile Force, and the Special Supporting Unit. The continuous monitoring of persons of interest and habitual offenders, the systematic use of Safe City surveillance system for detection and deterrence purposes, and sustained community engagement through structured community policing forums and sensitization programs. Madam Speaker, through these measures, the police have taken firm actions against perpetrators of various offences across the constituency. These include the arrest of individuals involved in a range of criminal activities, the disruption of distribution networks, the seizure of drugs such as cannabis, heroin, and synthetic drugs, as well as the detection and dismantling of illegal cultivation sites in isolated areas. I'm informed that from the period 1st of January of this year to the 30th of April, a total of 3,658 cases have been reported in this constituency, comprising 153 crimes, 1,112 misdemeanors, 2,354 contraventions, and 39 drug-related offences. The Mauritius Police Force, Madam Speaker, is making continuous efforts and taking all measures to maintain law and order across the country. And in this daunting task, we always say that active collaboration of the members of the public is essential, particularly through the prompt reporting of suspicious activities and the sharing of credible information to assist in the prevention and detection of crime. I should also add, Madam Speaker, that they work with the new National Drug Agency, which we have just set up.
Thank you. One question.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Prime Minister to request the Commissioner of Police to allocate at the earliest possible a minimum of 2 riders from traffic branch to each police station, namely Goodlands and Grand Bay, on a permanent basis so that police officers can intercept motorcyclists or riders evading control in the region. Thank you.
Just want a clarification. You said 2 drivers or
Riders.
2 riders? Yeah, this will depend on whether it's available. I know they are about to launch tenders for new motorbikes.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Ramkalawan.
Thank you, Madam
Honorable
Speaker.
Ramkalawan.
B567.
Madam Speaker, Mobank Limited is a subsidiary of Mobank Holdings Limited, which in turn has the government of Mauritius as its sole shareholder. With regard to the financial situation of Mobank Limited, I'm informed that the bank reported a profit after tax of around 829 million rupees for the year ending 30th of June 2025. It had total assets amounting to 57.6 billion rupees, total deposit liabilities of 50.8 billion rupees, and the equity and reserves of 5.2 billion rupees. Now, Madam Speaker, although when you look at these figures, you see the bank has recorded profit in 2025. But Mauritius Bank Holding Limited, which is the main shareholder, registered a deficit of 220 million and had a negative equity of 2.5 billion rupees, resulting from accumulated losses since its inception in 2015. At the outset, Mobank Limited had inherited a toxic loan portfolio of approximately 5.1 billion rupees. In 2018, this was transferred to a sister company owned by Mobank Holdings Limited, namely EAMC Limited. This carve-out allowed Mobank Limited to show to the public a clean balance sheet with profits by removing the non-performing assets. Over the years, Mobank Limited became a den of corruption, Madam Speaker, and mismanagement, resulting in the paradoxical situation of negative equity in the Mobank Holdings Limited. Let me give you a concrete example, Madam Speaker. Various loans amounting to a total of 675 billion rupees. I hope you're listening, Leader of the Opposition. 675 million, because you put a question on the 1st of May. Listen to this. A total of 675 million rupees was granted to Kuros Construction Limited. And the latter was allowed to provide as collateral, believe it or not, their collateral was what? A state land given by the government at Beno. So no proper diligence was carried out prior to this allocation of these loans to Kuros Construction. Hence, such an astronomical loan was granted by the bank against state-owned assets without any personal collateral whatsoever from the owner or owners. All this was allowed by the duo Ramchan Margar and Vishwan Videlingam. Today people are saying, why has it been removed? Listen to this. Today Kuros still owes. They borrowed 675 million rupees. How much do you think they still owe? 675 million rupees. In other words, they paid nothing. No collaterals, and they paid nothing. And now they're in default with Mobank Limited. This is the type of largesse which was common under the former regime of the Mobank Limited. And we all know who was pulling the strings from behind, considering the nexus between Kuros and the former Finance Minister Padiachi. With regard to part A of the question, I'm informed that no funds have been transferred by Mobank Limited to the consolidated fund during the current financial year. On the contrary, Madam Speaker, it was government that injected 4.1 billion rupees into Mobank Holdings Limited since its inception in 2015 up to November 2024. In addition, Mobex Holdings Limited had to contract a loan of $100 million from the African Development Bank to enable the bank to expand its loan to the SME sector. Furthermore, an additional amount of 1.1 billion rupees has been injected into Mobank Holdings Limited during this fiscal year to allow it to meet its debt obligations towards the African Development Bank Limited, where it borrowed the money before the elections. With regard to Part B of the question, I'm informed that Mobank Limited did not contract any loans. All the borrowings were contracted, as I said earlier, by the holding company, which is Mobank Holdings Limited. It is clear, Madam Speaker, that Mobank Holdings Limited has been the entity made to shoulder the burden. The dividends paid by Mobank Limited to Mobank Holdings Limited were largely insufficient to cover the financial costs of the loan and the servicing obligations. This has resulted in a serious deterioration in the financial position of Mobank Holdings Limited. Now, for the financial year ending 30th of June of 2025, based on unaudited financial statements, Mobank Holdings Limited had a negative equity on 2.95 billion rupees. Taken together, Madam Speaker, the financial position of Mobank Limited and Mobank Holdings Limited reflects a situation where operational profit at the bank level was made at the cost of the holding company and the public finances. Thus, Mobank Limited was showing a profit, while the holding company financial situation was really precarious. In this context, several measures are being taken to restore the financial viability of the Mobank Group of companies. These include restructuring of the existing debt obligations, improving the profitability of Mobank Limited to enhance its dividend payment capacity, the disposal of non-core assets, and the recovery of the carved-out non-performing loans.
Yes, one question.
Can the Honorable Prime Minister state whether government has appointed a transaction advisor to find any potential buyer of Mobank Limited, and if any potential buyer has been identified? Thank you.
I believe they're looking at this, they have looking at whether somebody, but who would want to buy a bank with that kind of debt?
Yes, Dr. Omia, last question.
Yeah. Can I ask the Honorable Prime Minister, in the light of the disturbing information that he has shared in the House regarding Kuros Limited, whether he intends to have a specific forensic inquiry about it, and in the meantime, freeze the assets of that company?
The assets are already frozen. The assets are already frozen, and we are looking at all the things that I mentioned, because we cannot let people get away with murder like this. They will have to answer for the deeds.
Yes, time is unfortunately over. Yes, now the table has been advised that the following PQs have been withdrawn. Bs 577, 568, 572, 570, 569, 571, and 576. I got it right? Yes? You didn't have a question, huh, Mr.? Okay. Now, questions addressed to honourable ministers. Honourable third member for Port Reitz North.
B578, please.
Yes, Dr. Omia.
Madam Speaker, the e-health project is currently being implemented by my ministry under a comprehensive portfolio approach. In close collaboration with United Nations Development Programme, the project is being implemented in phases with a view to improving healthcare delivery, strengthening data management, and enhancing service efficiency across public healthcare institutions. Madam Speaker, it is important to recall that e-health project was initially launched in 2022 following the signature of a portfolio agreement with the UNDP, which was appointed as implementing partner with full responsibility for the procurement process as well as the overall project management. In this context, the UNDP has since inception and to date been managing the procurement cycle and implementation of the project with dedicated technical and administrative personnel deployed for this purpose in accordance with the agreement entered into by the previous government. While the project was intended to support the digital transformation of the public health sector, its implementation was marked by a number of operational, technical, and coordination challenges due to gaps in planning, insufficient groundwork, and limited oversight by the previous government. It is to be noted that these challenges were compounded by unresolved operational issues, particularly in relation to site readiness, including electrical works and connectivity. These constraints had been flagged by the UNDP to the previous administration. However, they remain largely unaddressed, thereby contributing to delays in the implementation of the project. When I assumed office in November 2024, I observed that despite the lapse of nearly 2 years since the official launch of the project, progress remained limited and the initiative was still at the stage of user requirement gathering. This clearly indicated delays in moving the project towards actual implementation. Upon assuming office, my ministry took immediate and decisive action to salvage the project and accelerate its implementation. The user requirement phase was expedited and concrete steps were taken to transition the project into its implementation phase with a clear focus on delivery and tangible outcomes. Madam Speaker, Phase 1 focuses on the deployment of foundational modules that establish the necessary digital infrastructure to support patient and health service management. The core modules include Patient Administration System, PAS, manages the administrative life cycles of patients, including registration, admission, discharge, and transfer process. eHealth portal and mobile application provides a digital interface for patient and healthcare providers to access health services, personal medical information, and appointment scheduling. Blood transfusion services, BTS, and donor management application supports end-to-end management of blood donations, donor records, transfusion processes. Reporting analytics facilitates real-time data aggregation, dashboards, and performance monitoring to support evidence-based decision-making and health system governance. Laboratory information management system integration with the eHealth system and deployment across wards to enable electronic testing, test ordering with automated transmission of results from laboratory analyzers to wards and patients where required. The testing phase started on 23rd August 2025 at New Flag Hospital, which was the most advanced in terms of site preparedness. The system is already live at the hospital and in several associated primary healthcare facilities for that region, including Belvedere Mediclinic, Bramstan Area Health Center, Mejin Kandemas Community Health Center. Madam Speaker, an interministerial committee co-chaired by my colleague, the Honorable Minister of Information and Technology, Communication and Innovation, and myself meets on a regular basis and is attended by representatives of my ministry, Ministry of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation, as well as a consortium with a view to fast-tracking implementation and addressing operational challenges in real time. Madam Speaker, with regard to Part A of the question, I wish to inform the House that provision has been made for the incorporation of a full clinical cycle of outpatients within the eHealth system. The system has been designed as a comprehensive digital health solution to manage patient journey from registration up to appointment, scheduling, clinical consultation, laboratory investigation, medication, and follow-up. From the very beginning of our mandate, my ministry, in coordination with the Minister of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation, engaged with UNDP and successfully renegotiated scope of Phase 1 to include 3 critical modules at no additional cost to government with a view to providing a fully paperless patient experience at the earliest possible stage. As such, nurses, doctors, and pharmacy modules have been incorporated to ensure a fully paperless patient experience at the earliest possible stage, namely vitals capture, the physician module, and the pharmacy module. In the present phase, the system architecture and deployed modules include interiorly our patient registration and identity management, appointment scheduling, outpatient clinical consultation, capturing of the doctor's notes, chief complaints, medical examination, vital signs and clinical data, pharmacy and medication list, medical file tracking, hospital workflow, including admission, discharges and transfers, as well as integration with the laboratory information management system. The system also includes specialty-specific clinical templates for departments such as cardiology, dermatology, general medicine, general surgery, nephrology, and other specialties in order to cater for specific departmental and clinical requirements. The overall objective is to establish a single source of truth for patient records so as to ensure continuity of care, facilitate clinical decision-making, and improve patient outcome. Madam Speaker, with regard to part B of the question, I'm informed that e-health system, as I have just described, is presently live and operational in selected public healthcare institutions across different regions. However, at this stage, no public healthcare institution is fully operational in all aspects of the full clinical cycle, as implementation is being carried out progressively and in a phased manner. It is important to note that based on expert advice and international best practice, a project of this scale and complexity cannot be implemented in a single step or at one point in time. Such systems are typically rolled out progressively in phases across multiple sites to allow for proper testing and user training, system stabilization, and continuous improvement before full nationwide deployment. As the 30th April 2006, the system has been deployed in selected facilities across Region 3, New Flag Hospital, 4, Jawaharlal Nehru Hospital, and Victoria Hospital. The application has so far recorded more than 126,000 patients registration, 225,000 patient visits, and 221,000 doctors consultation. Madam Speaker, rollout has also started in other facilities, including those in Region 4, Jawaharlal Nehru Hospital, Region 5, Victoria Hospital, while preparatory activities have been initiated in Region 1, Dr. Jitu Hospital, and 2, Sir Sivsagar Ramgulam National Hospital, including champion user training and configuration exercises. The rollout schedule depends on site readiness and electrical works, UPS installation, power points connectivity, government internet and networking services, provisioning, cyber security audit and retesting requirement, as well as operational resource gaps. Madam Speaker, the rollout is expected to be completed in Region 3, New Flag Hospital by May 2026, Region 4, Jawaharlal Nehru Hospital by September 2026, and Region 2, Sir Sivsagar Ramgulam Hospital, March 2027. The timelines for Region 1, Dr. Jitu Hospital, and Region 5, Victoria Hospital are expected by December 2027, subject to the completion of electrical works and connectivity requirements.
Thank you. Yes, one supplementary, please.
I have two, if you allow me, please. May I ask the Honourable Minister whether he could indicate to the House if the clinical data and the electronic records that will be generated with the e-health systems will be legally admissible in our court system, particularly in the world of medical litigation that we are living right now, and if so, under which legal provisions? Thank you.
Madam Speaker, well, I'm not a lawyer, but definitely we are seeking the advice of the State Law Office. The State Law Office will have to advise us on the steps that we have to take. But as far as I'm aware, for the time being, we are not doing anything illegal.
You will do the needful. Yes.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Could you inform the House of the specific measures or specific sensitization campaign and communication strategies that have been put in place so that the public at large may benefit from the usage of the e-health services, particularly our Honourable Minister of ICT, who could help with having an app so that every single person at home can definitely have access, not even to his medical records, but particularly to all the medical tests that has been conducted so that they can take efficient measures to correct that. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, it is a fact anything new that we do, anything new that we introduce, we are met with certain opposition in the beginning. My first step has been to win over the doctors, first of all, doctors and the medical and paramedical staff. Once you get them in confidence, then everything becomes possible. So I get the feeling now the doctors, the paramedical staff, the medical staff, they are for the project. In the beginning, there was stiff resistance. Secondly, patients also. In the beginning, you know, when they come, they had to wait a little bit. But slowly and slowly now they're getting accustomed to it, and with the support of the Minister of Information Technology, I do hope I am going to attain. I can assure the House that this has been going on for years and years and years. I started in 2013 when our Prime Minister, when he had started that project. Up till now, nothing has happened, but I can assure the House, by next year you ask me the same question, I'll tell you we are nearing completion.
On va vivre avec notre temps. Yes, yes. Dude.
One.
Yeah, but when you ask me, don't show me a piece of paper because I don't understand. I think you're asking someone to get a message.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I ask the Honourable Minister whether in the user requirement gathering process there is or there has been discussion with the Health Commission in Rodrigues, especially with regards to the transfer and admission of patients from Rodrigues, and whether the existing e-health in Rodrigues is compatible with the one in Mauritius?
No, not necessarily. We had discussions with my colleague, the Minister of Information Technology, and in our forthcoming meetings, we are going to raise up the issue, and I can assure the honourable member that Rodrigues is also in our heart.
Okay, good. I'm not, well, let us see. Let us see. Mr. Honourable, you have one more? Okay. Otherwise, I'll be told that I'm one-sided.
May I ask the Honourable Minister the issue of confidentiality when it comes to e-health, which has been implemented in the private sector for the last 6-7 years, in particular one group, has faced enormous difficulties and concern about the personal records of patients that have been shared out. Can the Honourable Minister ensure the House and the public at large how confidentiality of patients can be preserved, particularly the number of hackers that we have in the community?
This issue was raised on many occasions, but I was given assurance by my colleague, the Minister of Information Technology, and also by the experts of UNDP, that everything will be done to see to it that the privacy of the patient will not be disclosed.
Okay, good. Honourable Ramdas.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. PQB 579, please.
That would be the last question for the morning. Yes. Oh, Minister, this is the question where you want to put 3 in 1.
3 in 1, yes.
Please
bear with me, I'll be very fast.
No, I don't think you will manage in 5 minutes. No. Why don't we break now, and then you can do that at the beginning when everybody has eaten and everything.
Okay, thank you.
Let me break now, please. Thank you very much. We come back at 2:30.